Good evening, and welcome to Ask the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. Evening, guys. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Eric the Plasterer. I'm a plasterer from South London, and I've been plastering for 36 years, and I'm here tonight to answer any of your plastering-related questions. Got a lot of the regular guys come along on every other Monday night, which is tonight at 7 o'clock, and they can help out as well, because if I don't know an answer, I'm sure one of them will. We're here for proper tradesmen, time served. We're here for newbies, for customers, for the DIYer, for anyone that's got any interest for whatever reason in the plastering game. So, finally, it is summer. Yay! The sun is out, the sky is blue, and I'm indoors with a pretend view. Yay! Don't know where you guys are joining me from, indoors or the garden or whatever. But in a minute, I'll change the screen so there'll be a place where you can type any questions up. There'll be a phone number. If you want to ask any questions, you can ring the phone number and talk live into the studio. Unless you're watching the recording, in which case no one will answer the phone. But give it me a second just in case. Okie dokie, let's move ourselves along. The usual crowd will be quick to realise, apart from that I haven't got big fishies swimming around behind me this week, that the videos I've got on the sides to me here are the same ones I had on last time, because I haven't had a chance to change them. Also, I wanted to apologise to all my subscribers about the video I was meant to get up this weekend, just gone, and I've not quite cracked it yet, and I couldn't quite finish it today because obviously at work this morning, if you caught my brief live stream from my rubbish phone. And yeah, but I'm home, I'm here, and we're ready to rock and roll. So whenever you've any kind of questions at all, just ask away, and in the meantime I'll just waffle to myself about anything in particular. Yeah, my video will be out in the next day or so. Again, by the time we finish tonight, we're normally on here for about an hour and a half. Don't really want it to run any longer than that, because this is available as a video afterwards. It also goes up as a podcast on wherever you get your podcasts. So you could just listen to it at work or wherever after the event, if that's what you fancy doing or that's easier for you. Yeah, for those who have not seen it before, over on the side videos there, one is one of my videos of me basically plastering from up on my stilts perspective with my new sports camera, which I had mounted to my head, which takes a bit of getting used to adjusting it so it's pointing in the right direction, because once it's on your head you can't really tell where it's pointing. That middle one was just a little ad I put together for Easy Mix. I didn't used to use Easy Mix and similar stuff, but I thought I don't need to use ad mixes to slow down my finish or speed it up. But I did tried it out because Mark, the guy that runs the company, he sent me some free samples, and yeah, initially I was only using the half time to make the plaster, whether it's bonded or finished, go off a bit faster. So I like to, if I've got a quite small area to do, I like to get it knocked out. Hi James, nice to see you, mate. What's your advice on starting out on stilts? I'm going to try tomorrow for the first time. I'm assuming you bought some stilts then, James. Well, I should just to be careful, really. I mean, as soon as the first place I ever, because once I got the stilts, I thought, how do I put them on and then stand up? And I'm lucky enough to have some stairs in my house, so I kind of went up the stairs a few steps, or strapped the things on, kind of had my legs pointing down long ways, and strapped them on, pulled myself up on the banister, and initially you just have a bit of a walk around the wall, sort of holding onto the wall, until you start to feel comfortable with the feeling of it, basically. you might, if it's the first time you've ever been on them, you might think, oh, this was a bad idea, because initially you kind of think, okay, walking on them's one thing, holding a hawk full of gear and getting it off and getting it up onto a ceiling while you're on them is think, oh, that's going to be difficult. But you can pick it up, and you do pick it up pretty quick. Otherwise, because I think once you've made any kind of investment in stilts, you've got to make it work. Dear. But and then eventually, rather than just walk around a room, so you're next to the wall, you kind of walk across the room. I mean, initially, if you feel a bit unsafe, you could kind of put your hands on the ceiling as you kind of walk across the room. But that might make your balance a bit worse, to be honest. It's just a case of keep walking in them and getting used to the feel of them. Most stilts are adjustable. Hi, Zoltar. And the springs, the adjustable springs that are up in the kind of the knee part of where they bend, you can adjust those so they're not quite as easy to spring. But even so, once you however you adjust those, once you've got used to how they're adjusted, you'll be able to walk on them fine. And actually plastering in while you're on them, I reckon you'll get the hang of it in no time. One of the other guys bought some a few months back, and literally, I think the day after he started using them, he said, "Oh, brilliant!" So he obviously got the knack of it really quick, and I'm pretty sure you will as well, James. So good luck with that. Let us know. Drop us a comment on one of the videos or on the Discord server, and let us know how you get on. Maybe a picture of you on your stilts, mate. That'd be good. And you can put that on there. The community, the plastering community server. Link in the video descriptions below. Remember to join us. There's about 25 of us on there at the minute. So don't get too busy. But if you want to ask some questions of any of the guys or of me, you can put them on there. And I'll more or less I'll see them straight away, because I get a ping through if people put messages on there. So so that'll be good. Also, still we've got Trowel Talk. That is Stuart's Facebook group. He's got about 2,700 members on there now, so that's doing really well. Pop along there, take a look. That's great for getting answers you want for something. It's a friendly site. You don't get, well, you get the occasional wally, but they get chucked off. But you can get some good advice on there if you're a newbie, as opposed to someone maybe taking the mickey out of you. So Trowel Talk's a great place to go for that as a Facebook group. But if you want to talk to any of the guys here or to me, though I am on that Trowel Talk group as well on occasion, you'll get me on the community server. Right, let me see what we've got there. I only managed to catch you this time. Yeah, well done, MP. You saw me this morning, didn't you? And that little 2-minute live stream I popped out at work. I just got to that job. A little bit late, but not that late. It was about 8 o'clock, on it, 8:15, something like that. But it is a loft. Is a loft room. I'll be on there for the next couple of days or so, and obviously been at the top of the house. It's quite a few sets of stairs. So I had about 7 or 8 bags of gear to run up on top of all my usual tools and stuff. So. That was a pile of fun. But all good stuff. All good stuff. Yeah. Dear. Right. Excuse me, we'll have a drink. I'm completely out of Pepsi Cola. So I'm going to have to go to. Where do I go? Costco's. That's it. And get a tray. So tonight it's wine in a glass. So it just looks like I've got a glass of water. And as ever, to keep my edge, I won't have my dinner till we're finished, as opposed to before we start, because then I just feel like falling asleep, and that won't be much good to anybody, will it? Dear. Right. Donkey. Anyone that's new or has just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. Been plastering for 36 years from South London. Any questions you've got, whether you're a newbie or a DIYer, time served tradesman, want to ask about tools, plaster. If as a customer you want to ask anything about how much plasterers cost, how long particular jobs might take to get done, I can always give you a rough idea how long it might take, depending who's doing it at the end of the day. But yeah, so welcome along to the live stream. We've been going for a while now. This is live stream number 11. Started off just random, and then we've moved it for quite a while now to every other Monday at 7 o'clock. So people have just got there's a regular time slot. So if they want to catch us live, they can do and ask any questions. As I said on the other page here, because I can never remember the number, we have you can ring in and talk to me on 07516 214 983 07516 214 983. If you're on your phone typing, though, you probably won't want to ring. But you can talk to me, and you can always watch it again later on the video when it goes up either later tonight or in the morning. Yeah, so right, I'm just going to sit here and chill out amongst the palm trees. And what was I waffling on about prior to that? Oh yeah, the Easy Mix skier. I was doing a lot of wasn't really using it. Then I was only using the half time, and then a couple of times I've used the extra time, but quite literally, as I said in this little video I've got up on there, just because then I can do it twice as slowly. As the older I get, the more I kind of think, I don't really want to be. I can knock this out, 2-bag mix. I'll whack an extra time in there and just whack it out without so much whacking. So it's a bit more relaxed. Hiya, diggly da. Yeah. Right, Zoltar. Sorry, mate. Would you put coving up and then skim the ceiling, or ceiling first and then the coving up? I've always done the skim first and then put the coving up after. Otherwise, you got to worry about the edge of the cove. I know you can, you skim up to the edge and brush around it and all the rest of it. If you take your skim up to, well, hopefully up to the wall. I know sometimes there's a gap if people are definitely going to have the coving put up there. And then one of my videos covers coving, or the way I put it up anyway. I've got to admit, more recently I started putting it up with it because I use the lightweight one, because it's exactly like the gyprock cove, but just without the weight behind it, so it's so much easier. But only B&Q seem to do the stuff though. Well, I think Selco might do it, saying that. But skim it first, then put your cove up, and then always, when I finish my cove, generally when I'm not using glue, I will stick it up with a little bit of multi-finish, because it works absolutely fine and definitely ain't going nowhere. None of my coving has ever fallen down. And I'll just run some caulk around it after, and it looks lovely, and you're done. I find that much easier. Do Zoltar, what did you put? No, done that. Diggity. Sorry, don't worry about being late, mate. It's about 8:30, and we or thereabouts. Just got back from an evening run. Oh, very impressed, mate. What was that? Did you go to work today and do an evening run? That is impressive if you've done that. I haven't run properly since last year, and I normally do the old park run on was doing the park run on a Saturday morning 5k, the free 5k, because they time you. And my best ever was 23 minutes to do 5k. Now I'm back to, I don't know if I can run the whole 5k, and if I do, it probably takes me about 45 minutes. But that's meant to be started back up on the 26th of June, I think. So I'm kind of quite looking forward to getting back to that, because I put on about a stone. My lovely 6-pack I used to have, which was quite impressive for an old man, is now just one jelly belly sitting on top. So as you'll see in my next video when it comes out. So evening run. Have you ever had any? Let's see. Have had any problems with metal beads bleeding through the plaster paint? How do you mean bleeding through, mate? I mean, if there's some bead that's old, it's gone rusty, that might bleed through the paint. But I'm not quite sure, Diggy, what you mean by bleeding through. That's what you're asking me. Have you ever had any problems with metal beads bleeding through plaster? Yeah, come back to me, Diggity, and explain exactly what you mean, because I'm not quite sure. Nothing from the bead should come through. Not that I can think of, anyway. Got about at least a sort of 5-second delay on the live stream, so it might take a second for. Well, you should be hearing me when you hear me, but probably coming at you 5 seconds after I've said it. Good evening, anyone else that's just joined us in the last 5-10 minutes or so. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Eric the Plasterer from South London. Been plastering 36 years. Here to answer your questions, and got a lot of the regular guys here that come every other Monday about 7 o'clock. So we can just have a good old chat, have a bit of a drink, and enjoy each other's company and learn some stuff and help other people. You can ring in to the studio 107 516 214 983 and talk to me if you want to. If you are like on a laptop or a tablet or something like that, but you need to turn the sound down because of the time delay. But other than that, it'd be good, and it's quite nice for other people not just to have to listen to my voice waffling on as I often do. Oh, well, if I didn't, it would be very quiet. Right, Zoltar, Marshalltown squeegee. I think I just recently seen that. Is that new? Squeegee, worth it. Not sure if I need any more tools, but some bloke rave about them. I've probably seen the same guy that you have. The Marshalltown one. It's kind of like it's not a speed skim, is it? But it's more, you use it like a window cleaner, as far as I can remember, for kind of like troweling your plaster. Seen it once on a video, like a spat, yeah. But I've not used one as yet. I might get one just for the sake of it, assuming they're not too expensive. Mind you, being a Marshalltown, it won't be cheap, will it? And give it a go. Because sometimes something that's a bit smaller that works in a slightly different way, you can I don't know. I mean, the ceiling I put up today, I nearly didn't bother putting my speed skim over it. I thought, I'm just going to go back to a bit of traditional, because it wasn't that big a ceiling. I thought I'll just stick a coat on, keep it nice and flat with the trowel, and then just put the second coat straight on that and flatten it out with that, and then trowel it up as it goes. But saying that, once I got to a certain point, and I thought, I'm going to take the metal blade over it now anyway, with a bit of water. Right. Yeah. £40. Come on, £40. Well, yeah, I suppose £40. It's about right, isn't it? For anything like that, when it comes to speed skims, trowels, they're all going to be at least around the £40 mark. Any kind of decent tool for us tradesmen, or DIYers, or serious DIYers, or newbies to the game. If you've just joined us, welcome to Ask the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer, from South London. Been plastering for 36 years, here to help answer any of your questions, whether you're a newbie, a fully qualified tradesman, a DIYer, or a customer. I will keep repeating that tonight, because often I'll just say it once at the beginning of the live stream, forgetting that people will come into the live stream, have a listen for 5 minutes and then leave. Well, actually, most of them stay longer than 5 minutes, thankfully. But if they come in and just think, who's this guy exactly? But sorry for the regular viewers that know exactly who I am. And know the sound of my voice. So, oh dear. So, is anyone out there that has not that's new, that's not asked me a question before, feel free to ask anything. I mean, there's no stupid questions, he said, as long as they're plastering related. There's lots of stupid questions out there, but anything to do with plastering, go for it. Hi, Eddie. Nice to see you, mate. What's the best way to avoid getting dips in your work? They are totally available. You've put there, mate. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Dips, you just got to make sure you don't use anything too flexible too early on your set. I mean, when you're putting stuff on, you shouldn't be putting it on with anything flexible, really. Anyway, the more rigid it is, the better. I mean, back in the day, we used to have to put a coat of finish on with a wooden float because it won't flex at all. So you've got a nice flat coat of plaster up there, and you wouldn't start messing about with even a Marshalltown on top of that until it was going off enough that you weren't going to start putting dips and waves in it. If you use any kind of speed skim on whether it's the plastic or the metal too soon on a set, or a flexi trowel on a set, you can start putting waves in it, which obviously you don't want to do. Other than that, you should be all right as long as you always use something rigid, or at least a rigid Marshalltown for laying on, and don't start troweling anything up too soon or with anything too flexible too soon. I mean, you can rule off with your speed skim once your first coat's gone on, your plastic one, but you've got to be careful. What size mixing buckets do you use? I use my water buckets. I just use the bog standard black ones that you can get like in B&Q, whatever, or Ironmongers. And I think it's probably the biggest tub you can get, big black tub. Do them in Wicks and B&Q and most other places as well. They're about a tenner. But I can get a 2-bag mix in there if I'm doing finish. If I'm knocking up sand and cement, I can get a whole bag of cement and 3 bags of sand knocked up in that tub in one hit, which is great. And I use my mega mixer for that, and it makes mincemeat of it of no problem whatsoever. So a lot of jobs where I used to think, I don't need to drag a cement mixer along, I just end up using my my mega mixer, or I've done for years now. I've got a bell mixer in the garden, but it spends most of its time just taking up space. I can't remember the last time I used it. If I do a major project that needs like block work or something, laying or some kind of floor or foundations, it's great, but I use it so infrequently, it's kind of a waste of space. My garden's nice, but it ain't that big, and it just takes up a huge amount. There's no room in my garage for it, sadly. It's Lee. Hiya, Lee. Nice to see you, mate. Oh yeah, hi Eddie. James, hi James. Nice to see you, mate. That's that metal spat you use. Oh, that's metals. The metal spat you use, feel you get enough pressure from. I only use the metal one. If you're talking about me using the speed skim, I only use it when I'm troweling up with water. I won't put the metal speed skim over anything prior to that. I get a lot better pressure on it when I'm on my stilts using it than I do when I've got it on a pole. On a pole from the floor, that is very convenient. Sometimes you just can't get the same angles as you can by tilting your wrists when you're up there on your stilts doing it. And walking along is I prefer when I can do that, and that's what I will do. I'll only use a pole from the floor if the ceiling's a ridiculous height, so I can lay it on the stilts, get down, and then use that from than be risking breaking my neck with my stilts adjusted up high. But yeah. From the pole, I can't get as good a pressure on it. Absolutely, not the same. And the way the pole is in the centre there, I tended to. I think in my last video, you might even be able to see it if you watch closely when I'm using the pole to get over this room full of furniture. It can kind of quiver a little bit from either left to right if you try and put too much pressure on it. So that's better than not being able to get this thing up there at all. But yeah, the pressure from a pole is difficult. Well, for me anyway. But I'm getting old, so. Have I ever used caustic cementone stabilising primer? Oh, hi Scott, nice to see you, mate. Lee, no. Well, I might have used it a long time ago, but a guy put a comment on one of my vids the other day saying, "Oh, you can get, no matter what kind of plaster you've got or suctions you've got, you can get a different kind of primer to go on that surface that'll be just right for that plaster. Why has everybody just used PVA?" And I basically just replied, because it's cheap, which it is. And practically any surface I ever do, all I'm doing is putting PVA on it. Neat PVA, and I let it dry, which is a technique I've used for years, and it's done me proud, as opposed to watered down coats and all that malarkey. But yeah, so a lot of some stabilising primer you might use if you're doing a seed and it turns out it's got distemper or something on it. But if you do get that situation, then really you need to scrape it off, because whatever you try and put on it, or maybe unless you can spray it up there, but if you try and use a roller over distemper with, which is like a whitewash, with anything on it, it just starts pulling the distemper off, and it's stuck to your roller, and the gear just doesn't stick to the sealing. If you don't know you've got a job like that, and you start to put your PVA or whatever on it, and suddenly realise that's the case, then you're going to have underpriced it, because you're going to have to add some time on for sorting it out, scraping it off probably before you can get a coat of anything on it at all. But yeah, I'm a PVA loving man. I don't use any of the grits for anything. If I want grit in it, as I said before, I'll stick some kiln dry and sand in, give it a good old mix up, and use that. Grit just used it. Oh yeah, if it's good, Lee, then and it's not too expensive, and you've allowed it in the price of your job, then there's no reason why you shouldn't use anything you want to use that you're happy with, that you feel might make the job easier for you. And there might be something that works easier than just a coat of PVA for keeping back suction or sealing the surface. But because for me personally, because I've managed to just do that for most of my career, I kind of think, well, I'm not going to go out and splash out on something that's a bit fancy, unless I might just give something a try for the hell of it and see if it's any good. Just so I can say, you know what, that was a waste of money. I might as well have done it with PVA. It's probably the only reason I'd try it. But no, if you're impressed with it, mate, and you like it, then go for it. Scott, hi Scott. Dry sand in your PVA. Is that a question? Yeah, I'll just chuck a bit of dry sand in the PVA and mix it in if I want some kind of grit type. Again, but I haven't done that in years either. I did. I've said on here before. I put sand cement on a porcelain butler sink, so someone wanted to use it in the garden. They didn't want it porcelain; they wanted it rendered. So, but I think that was just neat PVA as well. I might put more than one coat on, but I can't remember if I put any sand in that. But it did the trick. Even though I was dubious because I'd never done it before. That was the first time I did it. And sand and cement I had to put a pricking up coat on it and leave that to dry. But after that, I had no problems with it coming off or anything. We've got a porcelain sink, it's not flexible, is it? So it's not like it's going to move and your stuff's going to pop off of it. But and that was with just PVA. So but it says if it's something where you need a bit of extra grit in it. Is there much difference between stilts? I've only ever had one pair of stilts, and that was the Dura stilts. They're from the USA. They go for about £400-500 upwards. They're obviously quality, because I can't remember when I bought them, but I've only ever had that one pair. I've had to buy one pair of new straps for them, because the straps will go in that amount of years of plastering. But you can get a decent pair of stilts for a couple of £100. But these particular Dura stilts, they are adjustable at their lowest level. You'll reach a standard height ceiling with them, but I can raise them up to twice that height if needs be. I mean, rarely do I do that to do a ceiling. If a ceiling's that high, I'll probably try and get something else rigged up, or think, I want that job. Because walking on them twice the height, but they're good for the fact that a lot of ceilings I do, they are a couple of feet high, or they're 10 foot high, and I can just raise my stilts up and use that. If you buy the really short ones, they're not adjustable at all, and you get a slightly high ceiling, you can't reach it, so that's a waste of time. You can get slightly bigger ones, but they still aren't adjustable. Again, if that ceiling you go to do is a little bit high, I mean, you might be able to stretch to do it, but as you know, you don't want to be stretching to skim a ceiling over off your stilts. But or when you're running your old speed skim across if you're doing it from your stilts. But yeah, so you can get different stilts. The ones I've put my ones onto my links. I don't anticipate anyone buying them, those particular ones. But as I've told the guys before, any of my links that you go to and use, doesn't matter what you buy once you've gone on there, my channel will get a little kickback that I can put back into the channel. I'm only talking about a small percentage, but every little helps, as they say in the old land of Tesco's. Right, so let's keep reading. Pressure from Powell. That's Lee's one. Diggity difference in the stilts. Lee, it's like a blue. Oh yeah, blue grit. Just used it. It was really good. I was very impressed with it, mate. Yeah, no. If you Lee, like I said, if you're impressed with it, mate, and you're happy to, as long as you include it in your price for your job, then go for it. Just use that. Scott, dry sand in your PVA. Oh yeah, and it works okay. Yeah, yeah. The times I have used it, I've not had a problem with it. I mean, I don't like any kind of gritty stuff that's textured that you have to put on the wall, whether it's manufactured as a grit filled primer or whether it's because you've put the grit in yourself. But if you've got a decent whisk, you just put in a little bit at a time, mix it up until you can see that kind of texture in it, and then use it. Yeah, literally just sand. Obviously, you don't want to put soft sand in it because that can just go a little bit clumpy. But you want something either kiln dried or make sure it's a fine sharp sand and not just not a soft sand. Have you ever had PVA fall on me? Have you ever had PVA fall on me? What do you mean? Do you mean if I put something up, like PVA'd something and then coated it up and then it's fallen down? If that's what you're asking, come back to me and I'll answer it. It's just like blue grit in my opinion. It's just an additive, just with blue grit in it with sand in it. Which at the end of the day, blue grit and the other coloured grits, they're just grit of maybe different, slightly varying types, put into a substrate sealer. So have I ever fallen? I shouldn't say this, should I? I've never fallen off my stilts. Well, I won't fall off them because it's strapped to my legs, but if you did come off a pair of stilts up high, you got a long way, and you were going to go right down to the deck, your hands have got a long way to go before you break your fall. So I wouldn't imagine it would do your wrists or your arms, for that matter, much good. But no, I've taken the odd kind of tumble and kind of and like sort of fell a little bit against the wall. That's the only thing with trouble you got when you're using stilts. You've got to make sure your floor is clear, and I pull a tight sheet of plastic all around my floors and the customers' carpets and stuff, which then I don't have an issue with the rubber feet of my stilts. It's dangerous to use rubber-footed stilts, and I think they've all got rubber feet on dust sheets, because the rubber can just catch a dust sheet and stop your foot moving, or catch the toe of your stilt, and you can go for an absolute burden. I only use dust sheets sometimes on stairs if I'm not using roll and stroll. or some kind of some kind of sticky plastic on customers' stairs, which you probably would have seen me use in some of my videos. Gordon, ever do any Artex? I never put Artex up, Zoltar, for anybody, if that's what you're asking. I hate this stuff, as do obviously most of the customers that ring me and go, "Oh, I'm fed up with this Artex. It's been here since 1970. Can you plaster over that? Or do I have to take it down?" I go, no, I can. Yeah, I'll be able to plaster over it one way or the other, whether it's bonding over or overboarding it. If it's stupid Antarctica like icicles sticking down an inch or so all over, which was quite popular at some point in the 70s. Make it look like you lived in an igloo. Right, else we got there. The full level of Artex. Do you wash existing walls before plastering to degrease them before PV8? In short answer, the degree is no. I don't think I've ever washed a wall that I've PV8'd. I might brush it off or scrape it and just make sure there's no bits on it, or a layer of dust or anything like that. But I never go through the bother of washing it. But I'd have to double my price. My prices if I started washing the walls before Artex them, especially on some big jobs. What's that? James, how many jobs roughly does your polythene last? I'm thinking of making the switch to polythene from my dust sheets. Seem to hold a lot of dust. Yeah, I mean that's another reason I don't use dust sheets, is because once you start dropping plaster all over them, you can't really put them down on your next customer. They've got a really lovely new carpet or just a nice carpet, and you start chucking your dusty old dust sheets over it. You probably put more plaster on them than you might have done anyway. A roll of it, quite a few. If I was talking rooms, average size rooms, the roll of the polystyrene, the polythene I get, 5 or 6 rooms probably. Might be a little bit more. It does. There's about it's 100 square meters. There's a lot of meterage on them when you roll them out and then unfold them. And most of the rooms I do, I just take the roll from across the width, and most of the rooms, the length that it unfolds will be long enough to hit the room. If it's a slightly longer room, then I'll take the roll down the length of the room and unfold it so it goes to the width of the room. But yeah, no. If it didn't do a lot of rooms, I wouldn't bother buying it. I say it's anywhere between 17 and 20 quid a roll, but it's so worth it. Again, I mean, I use it if someone's got a beautiful brand new carpet. I've got no qualms at all about just using the plastic. It's a thick enough gauge, and if it's well stuck down around the edges, so you've got no bits of carpet peeping through anywhere. Again, I've used it for absolute donkeys, and you'll see me using a lot of it on my videos. I've only recently started using a bit of the old roll and stroll on the stairs. I used to stick dust sheets down the stairs. I'd buy a new dust sheet, stick them all down the stairs. It kind of did the job, but a little bit dangerous still for customers. And I know the roll and stroll's slippery, but if it's going to stay on the stairs, I do say to customers, look, if you're going to come down these stairs with this stuff on, don't do it in your socks. It's obviously it's a little bit dangerous. That video on the side there, you can see it now. That's my plastic. I do make sure it's everywhere, and for the time it takes to put down, it's so worth it, because at the end of the job, once you pick it up, it all looks great and you're more or less done. Then so well worth it. I hate having to wash any kind of floor if it's a hard floor afterwards. If it's a really expensive hard floor, then I do buy some of the tough spot plastic 8x4 sheets, and I take those down instead. 9 times out of 10 the plastic does it. Right. Oliver, hello Oliver. Go, where you been, mate? I feel like I ain't seen you in ages. I'm very well, mate. I hope you are too. Are you still teaching? Hopefully, and helping the newbies. Yeah, Oliver, for those of you that don't know, does works and trains guys to do to learn plastering. So if that's why you're here, then Oliver's a guy you need to speak to, and you can always kind of get in touch via me, and I'll sort you out. Lee, do you do the magic mix over the afternoon? Like, do you mean we're going over our text, the bonding and finish mixed together? Are you talking magic mix, or are you talking ad mixes? If you're talking magic mix as in the 50, 60-40 or 50-50 mixing bonding with finish for your first coat over Artex, and then a normal skim over the top of that. I don't do that. A lot of guys do, and they love it. And I've no doubt it's probably good, but I'm so used to just doing my PVA and getting a good coat of bonding up there. As soon as it's picked up enough, I'll just take a skim straight across that. And I've done it for so many years that I just can't be bothered to deviate and try something new in case for me it goes a little bit wrong. Which hopefully it wouldn't, but if you try anything new, if you haven't done it before, you can never be quite sure. Artex, yeah. Good lad, Oliver. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Anyone else that's joined us that wasn't here earlier? I'm Eric the Plasterer from South London. Been plastering for 36 years. Here to help answer any of your questions if you are a fully qualified tradesman, or if you are a newbie or a DIYer or a customer just trying to find stuff out about plastering and plasterers, or if you want to know about any particular tools, anything like that. If you've got any questions about anything that's plastering related, this is where we meet every other Monday to just get together and have a good old chat, if nothing else. But generally about plastering related stuff. Sometimes we have a bit of a laugh. Depends. Normally hope to keep my missus would like the live stream to go on for about half an hour, but it normally goes on for about an hour and a half, and a couple back it went on for about 2 hours, which is a little bit too long probably. Dear. Well, it's for my wife anyway. Grant, Scott, even to skim over. Hang on. I don't know what you're asking me now. I'm overfallen. Yeah. Sorry, Grant. I know you want asking me about even to skim over, but I'm not quite sure of the whole context of your question because I'm old, see, and previous questions that have gone up, I've forgotten those already. So I need a bit of help. Dear. But anyone new that's joined us, if you want to ask any questions, you can type them up, or you can ring in and talk to me live on unless this is a recording, in which case please don't. 07516 214 983 07516 214 983. Let's have a slight change of scenery. Here we go. Excuse me, we'll have a little drink. And now, of course, I can tell my customers that I've had, because I'm old enough, that I've had both my jabs. And but if I'm quite honest, most of my customers don't care. And even, I mean, at the moment now, I'm not. I'm really wearing a mask. I don't know, if I go to see a new job, I'll wear a mask. But people whose jobs I go to see, generally they haven't got one on. They invite me in, offer me tea. Some offer me dinner, but hey. But yeah, generally now, well, the last I don't know how many months, it's none of my potential customers have seemed to have been that much worried about it. I mean, they should have been, because it's but hopefully now we're coming out of it, and I mean, just just the fact that it's summer now and you can actually go to a pub and sit indoors. I went out with a mate for a couple of pints the other night. We kind of pre-booked it just to be on the safe side, and it was lovely. We still sat in the pub garden because it was a lovely evening, which obviously wasn't Friday, because Friday in this part of town anyway bucketed down all day. Oliver, have you ever found trouble with the heat? Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously the plaster wants to go off like a rocket when it's really hot. But I can cope with that, and as you say, you can whack a bit of extra time in it, which will slow it down. But it's just the sweating, it kind of dripping off your eyebrows, and having to keep wiping your face with a towel or whatever. I can't bear it. I mean, if I'm really honest, when it comes to plastering, I prefer plastering indoors when the weather's colder, because even if you're in a place that's got no heating on, because it's empty, whatever, you can work nice and hard and keep yourself warm. But when it is absolutely cooking, you just can't escape the heat. I've only had customers that put fans on me and all sorts, which is lovely, and it does help a little bit. But yeah, I'm not. Well, now I'm complaining about the heat now, aren't I? No, I don't. I love it. It's nearly summer. Well, it sort of is summer now, isn't it? And the sun's coming out, and it's warm. And I'm warm here tonight, but I don't care. It's better than being cold and raining and miserable out and getting dark at 4 o'clock, which I think it used to when I started this Ask the Plasterer. But I'm still amazed, but very happily amazed that people have come along and do this. When it's still nice and sunny out. When I think, don't you want to be sitting in your garden or in a pub garden or just enjoying the rest of the day? But I suppose you've got the rest of another 2 weeks to do that, haven't you, to the next Ask the Plasterer. Again, hi anyone that's just joined us in the last 5 minutes or so. Nice to have you along. I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer from South London, been plastering for 36 years, and I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. We've got a lot of regulars that come along as well. There'll be plasterers, newbies, DIYers. Absolutely doesn't matter. If you want to know anything about plastering, you could be a customer and you just want to know something, just ask away. You can either type your question up, or you can ring on, I shall bring it up because I can never remember it otherwise, or you can ring in to me and speak on 07516 214 983, 07516 214 983. I don't know how many other live streams you can do that. Not to a plasterer anyway. Yeah, and other than that, if you can ask me questions on any of my videos really, in the comment sections, because my following's still small enough that I can reply to everybody. Or you can contact me via Discord, Ask the Plasterer community server, which is the little one up where it says community. It is an app, but you can join that. It doesn't cost anything, and we can chat on there. You can type stuff. You can video speak to other plasterers, other guys from tonight, and that are part of the group that are on there. Yeah, it don't get massively busy on there, but it's nice if you want an answer to a question from me or from one of the other guys. You'll probably get it sooner rather than later if you pop on there and ask it. Either myself or one of the other guys are happy to help out. Oh, how are we doing for time? Put the old glasses on. 1949. Oh, 24-hour clocks. It's 10 to something. It's 10 to 20. That's good. Oh dear. Right, am I missing any questions? No worries, Lee. Cheers, mate. Silverdale, hello, mate. Do you ever first coat? Do you ever first coat, then go straight over with the second, as long as the first is neat and pulled in and saves the flat with the speed. Yes, mate. Before I was using the speedy, I get the first coat up, not leave it for very long, and as a lot of the guys know, I normally knock up enough gear that I can water down what's left of the first coat, and I will use that for my second coat. And because it will go off quicker, I more or less do start putting that on and flattening out straight away. I mean, I still do that now, but more so when I wasn't using the speed skim of any description. That is what I would do. So as my second coat went on, again fairly soon after the first one, as soon as that first one started to pick up a little bit, it would flatten out really nice, and then I was just really waiting for it to be pulled in enough that I could start spraying some water up there, or splashing it with my old brush, and troweling it up. Again, I just used to do that with a Marshalltown before I got into flexi trowels and all the rest of it. Again, I said some of the guys will have massive collections of different trowels, but you know, you only need a decent sort of rigid one, Marshalltown or something that's not flexible, a nice flexible one, and try the spatulas and the speed skims out, because they are a bit of a game changer. Not everybody likes them, but you know, each to their own. Hi, John. Just make sure I haven't missed anybody. What do I do if you see cat faces? Is that what you call them? In your work after the gear has started to set? Are these totally avoidable, or would you use filler to sort them out? Normally, yeah. Do you? Hopefully, use if you're noticing anything, any kind of little dips like that, you should be able to fill them in with the fat that you're getting off when you're troweling up. This is one of the ideas of troweling. I mean, the guy that taught me, again, this was just used to be finishing off with a standard Marshalltown trowel. You would, when we've got to the wetting stage and the troweling stage, we would trowel over the ceiling probably much more than we do now. Going back and forth one way, back and forth the other, cross, and all the time taking fat off and using any of that fat where it was needed, fill in any of those cat faces or whatever you call them there. Any little holes that you find. If I find once the job's done that I've missed one, I'll have some of my lightweight filler and I'll stick a little bit of that in it. But I rarely have to do something like that. But yeah, you should be able to fill them in with the fat that you're getting off of the stuff. Hang on there. Sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up. I mean, it's great that the show's getting more popular, but the old the writing goes past faster, or fast for an old man. Yeah, let's chuck the old glasses on. MP, you could do a new segment for the ladies, the naked plasterer. Could do, mate, but I don't think it probably might get more guys of a particular leaning that might tune in, but I doubt my body would attract any ladies. Might have done when I was younger. John, hi. I'm currently doing the British Gypsum site course. Okay, cool. I got made redundant from my old job in January. Got my level 1, 2, 3 diploma. Hopefully, we'll be on site on Fridays for experience. Yeah, John. It's the experience part that you need to get. When I came out of college, I was I could do a really great job. I mean, I could do big stuff very slowly, or I could do an amazing 2-meter square piece of wall from brick, flat as a pancake, smooth as silk. But it used to take me all day. And the first few jobs I had, there were a lot more building sites in London. You could literally just turn up and tell them you were a plasterer, and they'd take you at your word, and they'll soon find out if you weren't. And I had a lot of one-day jobs where they let me go at the end of the day because plastering was good, but it just wasn't, the speed wasn't there. and a lot of extra things that you might learn by the book, and generally you should be taught by the book. They don't want you to do. They just want you to get a couple of coats on the wall. They want it to look good when it's decorated, and because it's like any other business, it's a money business. Big companies, the bottom line's the thing for them, and as long as they're happy with your finish at the end of the day, and you get that, and you build up your speed with experience. It's good to get all the qualifications, and especially if you want to go and work for a company or for builders, you need to get your, it's not called a CIS card anymore, is it? I've done domestics for years now, so I don't need one and don't have one anymore. And the only bit of work I do for builders are my friends of mine. But yeah, no, it's great, mate. If you can get on site and start getting some experience, presumably as part of the course, yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, that's what my friend Oliver Franklin, does and teaches. So yeah, no, it's all good stuff. Mike, hi Mike. Yeah, all good this end, mate. All good this end. What's my advice starting out, John? God, I don't know, to be honest. As I say, when I started plastering, you could literally walk onto a building site in town. There was as many as then. There's quite a lot in town now, but everything went to kind of dry lining back in the 80s at some point. Prior to that, it was all wet trade stuff. And walls weren't even dot and dabbed. You would be floating and setting either with browning and finish, or bonding and finish, or browning and bonding and finish. And the guys would whack the stuff on, rule it off. I mean, because obviously I did a bit of labouring first as well, before I even thought of going into the game. And yeah, they'd float a room out in the morning and then just skim it all in the afternoon, and it would look absolutely amazing. Now a lot of guys, if it's all block work or brickwork, they'll dot and dab it and stick plasterboard to it, which is easier in my opinion at the end of the day. But yeah, starting out, and then I worked for a lot of builders initially. Did whatever domestics I could in between. Obviously, mostly that was weekends. When I was younger, now I don't work weekends because I'm too old. I can't be bothered. And eventually, because the builders started to get, initially I used to get paid every week by builders, and then that was suddenly stretched out to, they wanted to pay you fortnightly, and then they wanted to pay you every 3 weeks, and then they wanted to pay you once a month. So I started doing more domestics, and in the end I ended up just going domestics because you did the job, and then you got paid, and then you moved on to the next job, did that, and then got paid. Whereas, if you can get a good job for a building company, but generally it still aren't companies that will take you on other than you being self-employed. Some guys would love a job on the cards where you're getting work and you're getting holiday pay and everything else, and you're getting a decent crack out of them on a day rate that you would get regardless of what you're knocking out, as long as you're knocking out enough to keep your job. But yeah, things have changed quite a bit, but there's still loads of work out there. Still enough for all the plasterers. There's some new things coming out, but there were new things coming out in the past to do with spray plasters and one coat plasters, but none of them have ever really kind of taken over or done anyone out of a job in the plastering trade. And a lot of people have turned their hands to a lot of other trades, but when it comes to plastering, mate, get a plasterer in, especially if it's something bigger than a hull or as a ceiling, they're generally more sensible, and they'll go, it's a ceiling, I'll get a plasterer in. So starting out, basically, just getting your name out there and doing a good job so that the people recommend you. I mean, you mess up someone's carpet, you can do a fantastic job, but you spilt some gear or whatever, it just don't bode well, and they kind of think, well, you was quite happy with your work, but you messed our carpet up a bit, so they won't help you get your next job or have you back for another one. They'll try someone else. But so it's keeping people absolutely sweet, doing a pucker job, keeping everything nice and tidy. Try your hardest not to damage anything. Make sure you've got your public liability insurance, which is only about £75 for the year, which is nothing for a plasterer. A lot of other trades it's more expensive, more dangerous trades like plumbing or log burner fitters, because they're dealing with water and gas and fire. It's a lot more expensive. But because we're just, mixing stuff up and sticking it on a wall, 75 quid gets you technically £1 million worth of cover. So yeah. Right, stop waffling now and have a look at the questions. Currently doing the... Yep, got that. Yep, John. I'm starting out. Lee, do I go out on a day rate or do price the whole job up? I price all the jobs up, Lee, as opposed to going out on any kind of day rate job. I occasionally do a day rate on a job. Again, if it's a big domestic, and one I did for one of the guys that was a subscriber, and that was learning how to plaster from my plastering school videos. But he had a 7-bedroom, a 7-room bungalow, and that he thought he was probably going to try and do on his own. But when you're new to plastering, you can't take on something that big. It will take you forever. So eventually, luckily for me, he was quite close. So I went and did the job for him. But I got him to PVA everything for me, because I like PVA neat and dry in advance if I can get it. And I gave him a day rate to just go in, stick my beads on, and start skimming, and see how we get on. And yeah, we got on well for what I was charging him. He was happy, I was happy. But other than that, I will price up my jobs. If I'm doing a whole house for someone, I've got one to do over in West Molesey, near Hampton Court, and that will be pricing that up for individual rooms. And on my quotes, it says that as soon as a room is complete, or any of my jobs are complete, payment's due. And then as soon as I'm paid for that, which is normally instantly, I have it get them to transfer it into my accounts. Then I will start the next one, room in their house, and do that. And I've given them an individual quote for that room. I do that, and then they transfer the money for that room. Then I move into the next one, and I've done that for years, and worked really well for me. And I get paid when I finish a job. I'm either paid for it before I leave. People have transferred the money, or sometimes people are offering you cash, and or other times it'll be in there in no time at all. It might get the odd person that's might want to kind of forget it for a couple of days, but yeah, you got to let some people have a little bit of leeway, not pester them. But yeah, so I price by the job, and that way you can't go wrong. As long as you put your details on the quote, exactly what you're charging them to do, you can't have any kind of misconceptions of them saying, "Oh, I thought you were going to do that bit," and you go, "Well, no, just check the quote and you see it's not on there." So, yeah, I hope that helps, mate. I hope that helps, Lee. Yeah, no problem, Eddie. Cheers, mate. John, on a few domestic jobs. Done your flat? Yeah, done your flat up, John. Put your hand in. Yeah, no, that's good, mate. If you get it fixed up with a company, when I do the site experience, I enjoy working as a team rather than on my own. It is nice to work with a team of guys, or just with some other people. When I've worked with friends of mine on slightly bigger projects, again, they're like guys I've worked with and known for years, and I get used to that after a couple of months on a job with them. And then when I first go back to more or less working on my own, I think, oh dear, this is a bit like it's only me and the radio, or my podcast, of course. Mind you, I've already heard it. And but I still get used to it again. But yeah, it's nice to work with other guys. As long as you haven't got one that's always moaning about something, moaning about speed skims and don't know why people use them, or moaning about, why have you got a trowel as big as that? Well, I get on quite happy with a 10-inch trowel. I think all plasterers should use a 10-inch trowel, and I did come across guys like that years ago when I was on site, and they would kind of go and tell the boss that I wasn't doing it properly, and the boss would come back and go, "What's to the other guy like? Well, what's wrong with it?" But, well, he's troweling up with a 16-inch trowel, and he can't be getting it flat enough. If he should be using a 10-inch or a 12-inch, and I'm thinking, but anyway, That's the only downside in some teams of guys that you might ever work with on site, or for big or small building companies. It was good working for massive building companies back in the day, because I worked at Green Park Hotel, we were refurbing it, and it's just a massive job, and you're just stuck in a little void somewhere with just loads of other guys, and that was on a day rate. So you were just paid by the day, whatever. And I think there were so many plasterers, and as long as the job as a whole was getting done, everyone got paid. I think so a lot of people would probably, if you're a bit slow at first, you're kind of getting carried along. As long as you weren't cheeky with it. But yeah, but in those days, initially they used to pay him in cash. Other bloke used to come on a Friday with a suitcase, never got mugged, I'll never know. But they all turned to cheques in the end, and then to transferring and whatever. And then I started getting domestics. Do you ever ask for a deposit before you start work? I've never asked for a deposit, Diggity, but I have done the if I've been doing a job that's where there's been building involved as well, which I don't really do so much now. We would work out some kind of stage payment for something, but I would generally cover the materials for a job, and I make that fairly clear that when the job is finished, that's when my money's due. It's not due in a month's time. It's not, they know it's not a case of I've done the job, and wait for me to invoice them, and then they'll pay that invoice in a month. Because some people will do that, especially people that are used to getting paid that way and you're used to paying other people that way. You need to make sure you're letting them know that this is what I do. I'll knock the whole job out for you. Again, that's another reason I will do a room at a time, because if you give just one big price to do a whole house, and you start going through a few rooms, and there are any issues with what you want to get paid a bit quicker than they are paying you as you're going through. Because you do, as I do, the single quotes for each room if I'm doing a whole house, and I say, this is what I do. I supply the material for that room. I plaster all that room, but as soon as it's finished, you need to pay me. Don't say it like that. It just says this quote is payable on completion of the job, of that particular job, and they pay me, and I go on to the next room. So I've no need to charge a deposit. If I was going to do something really big, then I'd work somewhere around it. People don't generally like to pay money up front for materials. If it was a massive job, then you'd have to sort something out. But most jobs you can, because plaster, let's face it, is relatively cheap, and it's the plasterer's skill that customers are paying for at the end of the day. And a lot of you guys must have had, people will say, "Oh, it is an art plastering, isn't it?" And they don't generally say that, as far as I know, about bricklaying or painting and decorating, or carpentry is different kettle of fish. But yeah, and it is. So fortunately for us, plaster's not ridiculously expensive, and it's your skill that you're charging the money for. So you should be able to front up enough. A room, 6 bags of finish if you're doing the ceiling as well, maybe some bonding, a few angle beads, PVA, and if you buy a fiberglass scrim from one of my links and you buy 10 at once of the pink one that I use now, works out £3.32 a roll, as opposed to £7 or £8 in or anywhere else basically. Anyone else that's joined us and hasn't joined us and left again? Welcome along to Ask the Plasterer. We should be probably finishing about 8:30. It's not 8:30 yet, is it? Ah, dear. You can't see the clock now. Where are we? Oh, no, 10 past. 10 past. If anyone just come along, I'm a plasterer. I've been plastering for 36 years. I'm a plasterer from South London, and we answer whatever questions, or I answer, or any other guys here can answer any of the questions you might have about plastering, whether you're a newbie, a customer, a DIYer, or a time-served tradesman. Everyone's welcome. to come along. We do Ask the Plasterer every other Monday at 7 o'clock, so you don't have to miss it. And I generally will put some kind of video or note out on the channel the night before or over the weekend to say don't forget it's this Monday that it's happening. So yeah, any questions you might have, you can just type them up, and or you can ring in. How's the plaster supply at your end these days? The plaster, I just went to B&Q to pick up some blocks, and they had about 7 full pallets, properly stacked. Yeah, plaster at the moment with this thing that's going on with cement, and still is. Plaster seems absolutely fine. I went to B&Q this morning, funnily enough, and they've got pallets of it up on the shelf. Pallets, some pallets on the bottom, and pallets around the corner. So and plenty of bonding as well. So I'm happy to report that and British Gypsum said they've had no supply issues. They're still churning it out as they would normally do before that bit of hassle they had a little while back. But if you want sand, even some sands have been a little bit dicky, but I think that's not so bad now. But cement and timber and a lot of other stuff. But cement, I suppose, is because it's used in so much different construction, concrete and brick laying and floor laying and everything. The amount of things that cement are used in, but I still don't really understand why this has happened. Don't know if we'll ever find out. Well, hopefully it'll just come back on. I mean, fortunately for me, I don't do a lot of rendering. That's not a big issue for me. And before the last lot disappeared, I managed to get some for this little job that I had that I've done the video about, that will be out in the next couple of days, of how to plaster a wall in direct sunlight, literally for like over 2 days, without it drying so fast that you don't stand a chance. So I took a chance on the video that, and it came out all right, guys. So you'll see that in the video. I just got to shorten it a bit, that's all. Am I not answering? Answer that. Yep. So plaster supply is brilliant. Want cement? Still really dodgy out there. So Lee, am I charging by the square meter or just a room? And what are you charging? Sorry to be annoyed, but just a bit stuck and don't want to do them myself. I don't do anything on meterage. When you used to work on building sites, or you're doing a massive job where there was hundreds, if not thousands, of meters that plasterers were covering, they would tell you how much it is a meter, and the faster you were, obviously, the more money you made. Domestic jobs, for me anyway, are all done. Even when I've worked for builders, I will give them a price for whatever it is they want me to do. I'll give them a price for it, and again, let them know that as soon as it's done, I want paying. But domestic jobs, I know now how much gear roughly I need for any particular job, how much it's going to cost. I know how many days something will take me. I always allow extra days on jobs, because there's nothing worse than if you do manage to line up quite a bit of work. If you put it all in too tight and something goes wrong, or you get 1 day behind on something on a job, if you can't catch up, you've got to ring all those customers and put them back a day. And if they've kind of, as a lot of people do, booked work off and are expecting you, and you ring them last minute and say, sorry, all my jobs are a day behind, so I'm going to have to put you back a day. That's a bit of a pain. But if you allow gaps, then if you finish your job early, then treat yourself, have a day off. But it gives you some breathing space. So just be careful that you're allowing enough time to do a job, and you're not cutting it too fine, thinking, I could bash that out in this many hours, or I can knock that out in 1 day. Sometimes in doing that, if you rush a job, and because you're rushing it, you accidentally whip your trowel around or your speed skim, and you scrape a wall in a different room on your way to or from the room you're working in, and you damage a customer's wallpaper, paintwork, car out the front as you've gone, if you go past it in a hurry. to try and put your tools in your motor. Those kind of things you don't want happening, and it's not worth rushing about and have anything like that happen to you. So, just make sure, as I say, work out how long you think it's going to take you to do it, how much you want for that day's work, and make that your price and add your material onto that. I've always taken rubbish away, which is what customers have always expected, because it's such a pain to dump stuff now. I still do it for them, but I make a point of, when I put a price in, that it includes or doesn't include. 9 times out of 10, it includes taking away their rubbish, so they know they're not just paying me for the material and for the labour; they're paying me to take all that junk away at the end of the job. As long as it's plastering related and it's my junk, not something they ripped off before I got there. So yeah, you just got to make sure you're happy with the amount that you've put for a job. It's easy to underprice something if you've not got a lot of work coming in to try and get the job. Sometimes it's better than not getting a job at all and not having anything to do or any money coming in. But just got to be careful, mate. But yeah, don't charge by the meter, because on domestics you won't really make any money because there's not that much meterage there. We go charging by the square. Yeah, right. So have I missed anything? Right, is there anybody out there? Hi guys, if you're new to this channel or to Ask the Plasterer live stream every other Monday night at 7 o'clock with me, Eric the Plasterer. I'm a time-served plasterer, 36 years on the tools. I'm from South London. There's not a lot I don't know about plastering. I mean, there might be some new tools that I haven't used yet. but other than that, ask away anything you like. If I can't answer it, one of the other guys that's a regular here or on our community or on Trowel Talk will help you out, especially if you're a newbie or a DIYer and you just need some advice on anything that's plastering related, really. This is the place to come and chat with me. Always make sure you got a drink with you. Probably soft drinks better, but a beer. Nice on a nice summer's evening, and ask away. And you can, as I said before, you can ring in to the studio on this number 07516 214 983 07516 214 983, and you can talk to me and ask me a question live if you're not very good at typing. And give other people a break from my monotonous gibberings. Oh dear. I'm saying that, I don't seem to mind. Oh dear. So any questions you've got, or if you're a potential customer, and private number, could be abuse, but hopefully not. Hello.
Hello, mate.
Who's calling?
My name's Lee. I'm a plasterer. I've just got a question for you.
Hello, Lee. Far away, mate.
There's a bit of a delay on there, I think.
You can't. Yeah, you're best to, if you've got it on, if you're watching it on something, you're best to not listen to that. Turn it down and just listen to me on the phone.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wicked.
No worries.
So what it is, I've been plastering a long time, but more so lately, when I'm giving it the sort of final trowel, I'm getting sort of drag marks.
Are you using a Marshalltown or a Flexi trowel? Or?
Yeah, I've got a carbon, Marshalltown carbon.
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah.
But I've also got a Mediflex trowel, and it seems to be worse with that. It's just sort of like...
Oh, still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, mate, it's just breaking up a little bit. Carry on. No, mate, we're breaking up.
Oh, I'll try for the other phone. 1 second.
No worries, mate, no worries. There you go, brave man ringing in. Nice one. He's probably feeling sorry for the rest of you guys They just have to listen to me talking all the time. That's pretty. That line was quite good when it started, and it just kind of broke up. Broke up at the end. Yeah, if anyone else wants to give us a ring instead of typing, got the number there, 07516 214 983. I was looking forward to a good old chat then. And then the old, you get your hopes up, you get someone else's voice on there other than mine, and the old line goes funny. I thought that only happened on the television. I suppose technically this is the television. You might even be watching this on the television, because you can, can't you? So a lot of people probably just watch stuff on their phone. Which, if you can, like, just flick it over to the TV. Well, unless your missus or someone else is going, oh, yeah, I want to watch EastEnders. Right. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me better now?
That's better.
Lovely.
Right, yeah, so using the carbon trowel.
I've got a carbon steel, I've got a stainless, and I've got a Mediflex trowel.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just seems to be happening lately. It's like I'm giving it the final trowel with a bit of water.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of making marks on it. You can't, like I say, you can't feel them, and when it's painted, it looks fine. It's not like a tear. It's just like little marks, like white line. I don't know.
No, like a lot of people might call that tiger stripes.
Kind of, but yeah, a little bit like that, but not the normal ones. It's more like a drag.
So you put when you're getting that, are you putting plenty of water on it, or is it kind of like you just flicked a bit on there, or
just a bit really?
Right,
because put too much on. What
I find the only time I will get a dragging like that is if it's pulling too tight for basically you need to put more water on it. Is the only time I get when that's happened to me. When I'm using, because I often use a big metal bladed speed skim when I do my first kind of trowel up using water to get that first bit going. And if I use that and it's not wet enough, because it's picking up quite well, I start to get that dragging and get those kind of tiger stripe kind of lines in it, which, as you say, don't show up at the end of the day. So at the end, it's not a big deal. But then if I've chucked more water on, and again I use it like a big pump spray bottle to coat the wall with a nice film of water and then run it along, and then it doesn't happen. So I can only, from my personal experience, say you're not going to do it any harm by putting a bit more water on it. You do more harm to it by it dragging because it's not quite wet enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And,
so don't use much water.
Yeah, and as long as it's picking up okay. I mean, over the last few months, a lot of guys. I haven't found this problem. A lot of guys have been. Have you been using multi-finish?
I sort of switch between the two, really.
What, that or Thistle board finish?
Yeah, either board finish or the multi. But I do tend to switch it up because I notice, especially this time of year, the plaster seems to go a bit shitty. Yeah,
it can. Well, I don't know why. As I say, a few guys have been. I moaned a bit about the multi finish not being its usual. It's never that fantastic, but it's usually not kind of like they're used to it. Like they think something's changed about it. I haven't noticed that myself personally, and I've been using it for donkeys. Sometimes you're better off with plasterboard, Thistleboard finish. Because you can, as you probably know, you can use that on any surface. It hasn't got to be plasterboard.
To be fair, I use that more often than multi-finish, even on the overskims and stuff. It's generally, I find it a bit creamier, a bit better to use.
Yeah, but it's a little bit cheaper as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit, actually.
Yeah. And sometimes I think when the multi-finish got a bit thin on the ground, some places, well, not for long, but they had Thistleboard finish, but some people just kind of like, I know it's not plasterboard, so I need to hit a wall. I think, well, you can use Thistle finish. It won't fall off, as long as you've prepped the wall, PVA'd it and whatever.
It even actually says on the bag, I think you can use it on overskim as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read the instructions on the bag of plast. Or not since early days, anyway. People say to me, "Oh, did you read the instructions and use the same amount of water it says on the bag?" Does it say the amount of water on the bag that you should be able to put in? But you can with that as well. But you can't measure exact quantities for plaster because sometimes there's just a bit more dust in the bag or a bit less. And I've used exactly the same amount before, and it's either come out too thick and I've had to add more water, or it's gone too runny, which is fine if you've got another bag. But if you haven't, you kind of think, oh right, I'm going to have to wait for this to start picking up before I can lay it on. But yeah, are you London based, or are you miles away, or?
I'm up in the Midlands.
How do you find? Is you getting plenty of work up there at the minute?
Yeah, but I'm always busy. To be fair, pretty flat out.
Have you been like donkey's years or a few years or?
I've been so it'll be 7 years now.
Nice one.
So not
nice
that
one.
long, really.
You're still fairly young then, presumably.
Young, 36 I am.
Ah, nice kick. Oh, yeah, I remember 36. Those were the days, mate.
That's it.
Nice. I had more energy. I didn't mind working the odd weekend when I was 36. But now I'm kind of like, you think, no, life's too short. Monday to Friday's more than enough for me.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm the same. Lose time with my son if I work weekends, so I'll stop doing that.
Yeah, no, fair dues. This, I mean, later on this goes out as a video as well, so you can look back in at it and listen to yourself having a bit of a chat. 5 minutes of fame. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And it goes up as a podcast as well. So, because some people like to listen to everything people have been chatting about when they're at work. With a podcast, you can just go on Spotify or something, download the podcast of this, and just listen to other guys ringing in and asking their questions and what have you. But
get many people calling.
No, you are since I've been doing this. This is the 11th show, if you want to call it a show. You are the 4th person to ring.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of guys are just using their phone to sort of watch and to type on. They kind of think, to ring in now, I'm going to have to like basically turn the video off because it's on YouTube, isn't it? And then ring him on my phone, and so they think, I can't be bothered. But a few guys that are on another bit of kit, not on their phone, they'll go, I'll ring him on the phone. So it's nice because it makes a break. Apart from for me, makes a break from a lot of the guys, especially the regular guys that are every couple of weeks, just listening to me bang on and answering questions on my own. It's nice to hear someone else's voice on a live stream or on a video. Let's be honest, at the end of the day, because you can only take so much of one guy talking. I mean, most guys or people that watch this might watch it for about 10-15 minutes, and then which I don't blame them. You know, they wants to sit here for an hour and a half. Well, apart from me, but I ain't got no choice. And listen to some guy banging on about plastering. But yeah. No, well, have you subscribed to the channel yet, or?
I don't really. What I do, I put it on the TV and I put YouTube on and I just flick through and if you type it, I've typed in plastering before, so
gotcha.
It starts coming up with videos about plastering, and that's how I found your channell.
Well, you see, you might never be able to see any more fantastic videos or this live stream again if you don't subscribe, because you'll go, Eric's on it. Eric's on again. If you want to, because you ain't got to watch, have you? But at least you get an option of going, oh yeah, that's matey boy. I've got another question for him. I'll ring in, seeing as lot of other people don't, and because not that many people ring in, then your chances of getting on it's like brilliant. So well done for that. Thanks for calling.
No problem.
And,
great channel.
Nice fun.
I'll make myself. I've got to make an account, you see, so then I can.
Oh right.
I'm not logged in or anything. So.
Right. I think it's fairly easy to make an account, and this is just make a note of that. My channel's plasterer.org.uk, which is my website as well. If you just type that anywhere, my website will probably come up. But there's a link from my website to this channel as well. So. It'd be nice to chat to you again, and join the team. I said there's a lot of other guys that come regularly. I've got I don't know if you'll be able to see it now, but you might be able to see it if you watch this later. I've got a Discord site. It's a community. It's a server thing. It's a little app. But basically, if you need to ask a question, I see that pops up on there. A lot of the other guys that come to this are on there as well. And if I'm not there to answer a question or just to have a chat, where we put pictures up of stuff we've done, or if we've got something awkward that we're doing, and ask each other's opinions on stuff. And because it's not too big, it's easy to get a quick reply from someone, as opposed to some other things where there's like thousands of guys on there. and some that take the mickey, especially out of not so much yourself, but any like DIYers and newbies out there that want a bit of help with trying to plaster something, and they just get abused by other plasterers, which is no good on some of these like, massive sites. But the smaller ones, like Trail Talk, which belongs to a friend of mine, and in this community that we do. But I'm off there now, mate. So I will let you go. And,
no worries. Thanks for your help.
And and thanks for ringing in. Nice one.
No problem.
All right. You take care.
Okay.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Mm-hmm. So there we have it, people. How are we doing for time? Is it 8:30? Is it 8:30 yet? Oh, I think it's 8:30. Hang on, I think it's 8:30. Dead on. Yes. Anybody else? Oh, hang on, Lee. Yeah, no worries, Lee. It'd be nice to see you again, mate, if you're still here and you can still hear me. Yeah, anyone else that's here, if you've got any questions, we'll keep going a little bit longer. And if you haven't, I will look at knocking it on the head and going and having my dinner. I understand that I'm not particularly hungry tonight, but I think the warm weather, you get less hungry, don't you? Which is good because I've got to lose about a stone. My ultra fit body is just not what it was before a year ago. I used to do the gym 3 times a week. I haven't been for a year, and oh man, it tells and shows. When I'm working as well, I mean, normally I can like hump bags of plaster upstairs for no problem whatsoever, and I still can. But at the minute, I'm really feeling it. I was told about 8 bags up, loads of flights today because I'm working in the loft room, and my old quads were burning, which they didn't used to. But so yeah, as soon as the gym's open proper. So I can just go and have a swim and have a sauna, and not have, as well as doing having a workout without having to book. You know, you can do that for half an hour, but you can't swim yet, or you can't go in the sauna because it's too risky. When it's all back to proper normal, I'm going to get back there and get myself back fit. Stop eating all the donuts and chocolate biscuits and bacon. Well, not bacon sarnies. You can have them whenever, can't you? But But yeah, so if everyone's done and dusted, no more questions, no one else is ringing in, no one else wants to type a question, then I will love you and leave you. Don't forget, this is on again, not this particular one, but Ask the Plasterer in 2 weeks' time on a Monday at 7 o'clock we start. And this particular one, after we're finished, this will go up as a video, and it will also, in the next couple of days, go up as a podcast wherever you get your podcast, so you can just listen to my dulcet tones, and when someone's rung in on there tonight, you can listen to them as well, and just answering any questions that you might be interested in knowing the answers to. So I will. Who's that? MP. All the best. Yeah. Cheers, mate. And you, James and Lee and MP Diggity, John, if you're still there, Eddie, Mike. Anybody else I might, just in case you're still on there. Oliver, if you're still around. James. Zoltar, Diggity. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming along again. Thanks for the newbies that have come along tonight and typed up questions and rung in and just been watching out of curiosity. And hopefully we'll see you again in a short while. Now, as usual, I just have to search for and remember where my stop streaming button is. Fade myself out and speak to you guys soon, either on the Discord sites, either back here, or on one of my videos in the comments section. So I look forward to that. Cheers, guys, and this is Eric the Plasterer fading himself out. Hopefully.